I'm late. Tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, so that means we gotta jump right into today's video, which is the Wednesday pull list. What is going on, comic book fans? Welcome back to the channel, and tomorrow is New Comic Book Day, which is June 19th of 2024. I'm sorry that I'm a little late with today's video. I usually try to get this video out on Monday, but Stephanie is traveling for work this week, so that means I'm home alone with the kids, and I didn't have time this weekend to read all the previous issues to the books that are on my pull list this week, so I had to do that yesterday. So I got all caught up, I read all the previous issues, so I'm locked and I'm loaded to get you guys all the information that you're gonna need to get the most exciting books coming out this week on New Comic Day. So guys, let's not waste any more time, and let's go ahead and check out my pull list. Now, as you guys can see, this list is not as large as last week or the week before or the week before that. I've had some pretty gigantic pull lists, and guys, next week, oh my god, next week has 31 books again on the pull list. I don't know how I'm going to get that done because this weekend is Nate's graduation party. He's graduating 8th grade. We're having a lot of people over, so I'm not going to have any time to read any comic books, so I have no idea. I have no idea how I'm going to fit in 31 comics between now and then. But that's a problem for next week. We're going to go ahead and talk about these books right here. But you guys can't see what those books are, so let me go ahead and throw them up on screen right now. Guys, there are a total of 17 books on my pull list. There are 2 new number 1s, 6 DC books, 4 Marvel books, and 7 independent titles. And like I said before, I read all the previous issues to the books that you see on screen right now. So every single one of these books could make the top 3 list. Alright guys, there are no books on the chopping block this week, so we can dive right into my cover lever picks. Now, if you guys watch my previews highlights video or my final order cutoff speculation and recommendations video, you will probably notice a lot of these covers because I've already spoken about a bunch of them, but there are some different ones on today's list. So let's go ahead and dive into these cover lever picks. And the first one up is the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 53 with the variant in the 1 in 100 Virgin ratio variant done by Pablos Villalobos. Yeah, it's Black Cat. It's Villalobos. It is so good. Now, next up, it's probably my favorite cover of the week. This is Wonder Woman issue number 10 with the cover E, which is the 1 in 25 ratio variant done by Jeff Spokes. It's Mr. Spokes. It's all the Wonder Ladies on the cover, and it's so good. Now, thank you to the Discord for pointing out this cover, even though I would have landed on it at some point, but you guys were faster than me. This is Wonder Woman issue number 10, the cover C variant done by Dan Panosian. I still don't love the rope. I really don't, but everything else behind the rope is absolutely fantastic. And if you guys have not joined our Discord, link down in the description below. But guys, next up, I have to point out Wonder Woman issue number 10, the cover B, which is done by Julian Tedesco. Tedesco's run of covers on Wonder Woman has been absolutely fantastic. It is like incredible. Every single one he's put out has been so good, and I really like this one. This is like the warrior Wonder Woman, and it's so good. The next up is Catwoman issue number 66 with the cover C done by Pablos Villalobos. You guys tend to see the same names coming up on this list for artists because they are just the best in the game right now, but there are some different ones coming up every once in a while. But one thing to keep in mind as you guys are collecting comics and getting more familiar with the artists that you love, just keep an ear out for that name because most likely you will enjoy their covers. Just a tip for the future. Alright guys, next up is the Sensational She-Hulk issue number 9 with the variant cover done by Adam Hughes. I freaking love this cover. I also love this book so much. But the cover by Adam Hughes is so good. Now next up is Destro issue number 1. Who's not excited for this book? I think everyone is. It's gonna be a really good book. This is the cover C variant, which is the 1 in 10 ratio variant done by Nikola Sajesma. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that name right or wrong, but this cover, I love it. It's one of my favorites for issue number 1. Now next up are some covers for Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime issue number 1. Now, this sadly is a one-shot, I believe. There are no further issues that are on League of Comic Geeks or anywhere else, which makes me believe this is a one-shot, which is kind of sad, but I understand why it is. But there are some amazing freaking covers for this. The first one up is the variant cover done by Elizabeth Torque. This is great. This is so good. The one after that is the 1 in 10 ratio variant done by Gabriel Del Otto. So good. Both of these I think are my favorite for that issue, and those are my favorite. I thought there was more, but there's not. But guys, there are so many covers coming out for this. I do want to point out the Frank Miller one. Why? Why would Marvel make that a cover for this book? It is, I don't know. This cover to me is not very good. I know there's some big Frank Miller fans out there, but oh my god, guys. Let me know what you think about this cover down in the comments below. All right, guys, 2 more books. Next up is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Black, White, and Green issue number 2 with the cover B variant done by Jeffrey Love. I really like this cover. You really can't see the turtles all that well, but the fact that they're just kind of silhouetted, just, I don't know, it's really cool in my opinion. Now, the final book up is a really cool book. I've never heard of it before. This is Vampiress Carmilla, issue number 22. It's an absolutely gorgeous cover. And guys, the description on League of Comic Geeks is this. Vampiress Carmilla revives the iconic Warren illustrated horror magazine by replicating Warren's early page layouts and publishing new, classic-styled work by original Warren artists, writers, and editors. Each issue is a highly collectible instant classic. So it seems like they're taking the style of this Warren person and then having new writers and artists tell stories in that style, which is kind of cool. This character looks a lot like Vampirella, but not Vampirella. Maybe that's why it's called Vampiress Carmilla. But this cover with the wolves, and she's like a, I don't know, some kind of like vampire lady. So freaking good. All right, guys, that is it for my cover letter picks this week. Let's go ahead and move over to the next section, which is my new number 1 that I think you guys have to be excited about. A quick pit stop before we get into that new number 1, guys. It would help the channel out so much. So much. If you take a second and just smash that like button. Just smash it, make sure it's clicked, and it would be so helpful. It helps this video get out to more people, and I just would truly appreciate it. So guys, smash that like button, and let's go ahead and check out that new number 1. The 2 new number 1s on my pull list this week are Destro and Uncle Scrooge in the Infinity Dime, and I just gotta tell you guys, the nostalgia for Uncle Scrooge in the Infinity Dime has me like so excited. I was a G.I. Joe fan when I was a kid, but man, DuckTales was like it. It was like, I loved freaking DuckTales, and that opening scene where Scrooge is like swimming through his like, you know, giant safe, it was just, it was everything. It was so good. And when I saw that Jason Aaron was writing this, I was like, oh my god, I am like over the moon excited. Now there are a lot of artists who are going to be creating this, so I'm not going to go ahead and list all the artists. If you guys are interested, I'll have a link to the League of Comic Geeks, which shows all the artists down in the description below. But let me go ahead and read the synopsis for you guys. For the first time ever, Marvel and Disney team up to bring you the story of the century. Get it? Century? It's the story you never expected. One of the greatest characters in the history of comics leaps into his most epic adventure, yet in the manner only Marvel can deliver. When Uncle Scrooge's fabled money bin gets stolen by a shocking culprit, the world's toughest duck must undertake a quest unlike any other, alongside a surprising array of allies, other versions of himself. An oversized special from Marvel's mainstay writer Jason Aaron, and a career of celebrated Scrooge artists, also representing the classic Christmas on Bear Mountain, the first appearance of Scrooge McDuck by legendary Disney Comics creator Carl Barks. Guys, this is just, it is so exciting, and there is a plethora of variant covers on this, and I've already showed you guys my 2 favorites, the Elizabeth Torque and the Gabriel Del Otto, but there is just so many. The Scotty Young is pretty good. I really like the 1 in 100, which I think is done by Pepe Larraz. Yeah, done by Pepe Larraz. It shows a bunch of variants of Scrooge McDuck. I don't know. What do you guys think about this one shot? Are you guys really excited? Is the nostalgia like hitting you like right here and you're just like, oh my god, I gotta have this? Because that's how I feel about this. I'm so excited for that Gabriel Del Otto. I would love to get that signed by him and Jason Aaron and slapped him up on the wall with the yellow label. That'd be so sweet. But yeah, nostalgia is really affecting this one. I'm really excited about it. That is the new number 1 that I'm just like really pumped for. I hope you guys are too. Let me know down in the comments below. But it's time to dive into the top 3 books that I think you guys have to be reading this week because the stories were so freaking good. All right, guys, the number 3 book is a surprise. I really thought it was going to be something else, but the number 3 book is Batman, issue number 149. This is coming from the writer of Chip Zdarsky, and this one has art by Steve Lieber and Michelle Bandini. Now, I have been vocally told you guys that I have not loved the Chip Zdarsky run so far. It's had some peaks and it had some really deep valleys for me, but issue number 148, when I read that, it was filled with all these fantastic moments. 147 was definitely a build-up and started to build those moments, which was bringing the Bat family back together. Bruce Wayne finally ridding himself of the Batman Zur-on-Ra personality and really accepting the fact that he needs his family around him to do what he does. If he doesn't have his family, he cannot be the best Batman. And that was just such a fantastic moment. And there were so many character moments with the Bat family members, but there were 2 that stuck out to me. There was a moment where Damian was trapped and then freed, and then they had a moment with Bruce Wayne which just totally hugged him and hugging his dad, and it was just this fantastic moment because Damian Wayne is still a little kid, and just seeing them embrace and the emotions in that hug, so good. It was so good. And the other moment was when there was this great moment between Jason Todd and Bruce Wayne when Jason was like, you gotta stop trying to decide things for everyone. Let your family decide things as a family. You don't need to be the person that chooses everything for everyone. And it was great. And Bruce Wayne did do that. He let Jason Todd do something and it was awesome. This issue just was a great way to cap off this whole run of Chip Zdarsky because it took a while to get to this moment, but it built up and it was a big payoff. I loved it, and I'm really excited to see where this next issue number 145, which is going to be an epilogue issue, which I think is going to be wrapping up a lot of storylines before they get into issue number 150, which is a big absolute power tie-in, and it's also a milestone issue number 150 of the current run. I'll find out which issue it is in the full Batman run, and I'll put that up on screen somewhere. I don't know where it is, and I didn't look it up before I started recording this, but yeah, 148 was amazing, and I'm really, really excited for 149. Now, the variant covers for issue number 149 are lackluster. There's the cover B by Gabriel Del Auto. The cover C by Balin Ortega is pretty good, but the mood of this does not really match the mood of the story, at least as far as I can tell. The one in 25 by Dan Panosian is pretty good, and the one in 50 is strange to me. What the hell does that have to do with the current Batman story? I don't know. But guys, that is the number 3 book. Let's go ahead and find out what my number 2 is. All right, guys, the number 2 book is probably going to surprise some of you, and I'm okay with that. But this book has been a book that I've enjoyed since the jump. It's been so good. And that is The Sensational She-Hulk. Issue number 9 comes out this week. This is coming from the writer of Rainbow Rowell and has art by Andreas Ginolet. And guys, I have been on this series since Rainbow Rowell started writing it. There was a previous run just called She-Hulk, which was fantastic, that sets up all the story that's going in The Sensational She-Hulk. I honestly don't know why they changed the name of the book. It's still the same exact story, but they did. So go back and read She-Hulk and then read this. But this is so good. Now, a few things I gotta set up for you guys, because I'm sure some of you are like, this is crazy. She-Hulk, why you like She-Hulk? Well, I am a person who likes a lot of different style of writing and storytelling and different types of stories. And this one right here is a rom-com, 100% a rom-com set in a superhero world. So you get superhero stuff, you get this romantic relationship between the character of Jack of Hearts and She-Hulk, but then you get normal life stuff with She-Hulk, and she's dealing with her job and the pressures of having her job of being a superhero lawyer when she technically doesn't want to be a superhero lawyer, but she keeps being drawn back into this, and how that regular real world life is still a huge part of her, which I don't think is spoken about enough in comic books. I think that's a really interesting part of these characters that live in this fantastic world. I like when they can ground them a little bit and then have fantastic stuff happen, and then also be in a relationship. And that relationship with Jack of Hearts is just so good because he's such a weird and kooky character because he's been in space for so long. He doesn't understand how to be a human anymore. And She-Hulk is helping him through that, and they fell in love. And in issues number 7 and 8, It dealt with baggage. Now, when you're an older person, not old, but even in your 20s or 30s, you've lived some life. You've done some things. You've had previous relationships. You have baggage. And then when you get into a relationship, sometimes that baggage comes up unexpectedly and you have to deal with it. And that's what happened in issues number 7 and 8. And it was so well written and so well done. It was so good. And the superhero action was still there. Big battles with She-Hulk and this other character. It was just fantastic. This book is so good. And let's not forget, amazing covers throughout the whole entire run. Jen Bartel, David Nakayama, so many great artists have done covers for this book. Adam Hughes, just to name a few. Just to name a few. This book to me is a must read, especially if you like me and you like to branch out and have a fun, let's call it a palate cleanser book, to quote Chris over at Lost in Comics. This is just so good in my opinion. All right, guys, that is the number 2 book. There is one variant cover done by Adam Hughes and it's fantastic, but we can go ahead and jump into the number 1 book coming out this week because it is the best. It is so good. Alright guys, the number 1 book this week is a DC book. So we've had DC and then Marvel and we're coming back to DC. And this is Wonder Woman issue number 10. This is coming from the writer of Tom King and has art by Daniel Samprier. And guys, this book has been fantastic since issue number 1. Now this is a classic Tom King book. It is wordy. It takes a little while to get through. But the storytelling in this book is next level good. The way he's setting up the bad guy and what this bad guy is willing to do to take down Wonder Woman, and the way he's going about it is so different. It's engaging, and I actually think this is something that if there were superheroes in the world, that the bad guys would actually try to do to bring down someone like Wonder Woman. And it's just absolutely fantastic. In the last 2 issues, issues number 8 and 9, the bad guy has captured Wonder Woman and he's torturing her. But in a way that is so interesting. In the issue number 8, he's had this rope of lies tied around her, and he's force feeding lies into her head to try to break her down. And so she's living out all these moments in her head with Steve Trevor, and she knows it's not real, but she can't help but go through the steps, and then she breaks out of it at the end, which was so good. And then in issue number 9, he puts her in solitaire, and she's having these conversations with this version of Steve Trevor in her head, and going through the steps of what a person would happen when they are in solitaire. She's slowly starting to break down, and at one point in the book she's you know what, I'm just gonna give up. And then Steve Trevor, who is just a figment of her own imagination, lifts her up and helps her get through it. And it was so well written, so well written. Tom King gets a lot of crap for not being a great writer and tearing characters down and ruining them, but this to me is a great book, and it's lifting and elevating Wonder Woman as a character with this, especially with this evil, disgusting bad guy. He's so gross and dirty, and Wonder Woman is just so good. So good. Now, the covers all along this series has been so good. We've got all those amazing Tedesco covers. We've had some amazing 1 in 25. So one by Jeff Spokes for this week is so good. But if you've never ever read a Wonder Woman comic in your life, give this one a shot, because I've tried to dive into the Wonder Woman pool multiple times throughout my 20 years of reading comic books and never really enjoyed Wonder Woman as a character or as a series. But this one right here, I love. I really freaking do. It's made the top 3 list multiple times along this run, and I highly suggest you guys check this book out. It is so good. And the artwork by Daniel Samprier, I didn't even mention that. It was so good. This book. Read this book, guys. Read it. I promise you, you guys are going to enjoy it. All right, guys. That was the last book on the top 3 list. We need to go through the not top 3, but the books you gotta see. All right, guys, the not top 3 is me just going through the rest of the books on my pull list and giving you guys a little bit of information on why the book is either great, good, or maybe it's not so great, but it's still not worthy of putting on the chopping block. So let's go ahead and dive into the rest of these books. And the first one up is Batman Superman's World's Finest, issue number 28. Now this continues to be a palate cleanser book. It is just a ton of fun. Written by Mark Waid, art by Dan Mora, and this issue right here is all dealing with Mixoplex and Batmite and all the other crazy mites, and it's been a ton of fun. Really fun book. After that is Briar, issue number 6. Now this is coming from the writer of Christopher Cantwell, and it is a really fun, like, Snow White style book. I'm really enjoying it. It's like a different take on that whole story, and I love that this book follows a band of misfits, and it's so great how they're all working together. It's really funny, it's heartfelt, and I like it a lot. After that, Destro, issue number 1. I'm really pumped for this series. I love the whole Energon universe, and the end of Cobra Commander was so good, and I cannot wait to read Destro. The next up is Doctor Strange, issue number 16. This is a whole Blood Hunt tie-in, but I freaking like this book so much. Jed McKay, the love story between Clea and Doctor Strange is so good. I'm a sucker for love. After that, Dudley Datsun in the Forever Machine, issue number 3. Issue number 2 was okay. This book, I probably should have chopped it after issue number 1, but since I pre-order my books, I'm already getting the next issue, which I believe is the final issue of the series. I could be wrong, don't quote me, but this book is okay. I pick up everything Scott Snyder writes, and this one is just, it's okay. It's not great, it's not terrible, it's just okay. Alright guys, next up is Green Lantern War Journal, issue number 10. I like that there are 2 Green Lantern books. We got one with Hal Jordan and one with John Stewart, the 2 best Green Lantern. But this book has, like, you know, it started off really great, and then now it's starting to, like, flatline a little bit. I shouldn't say down, it's like flat. But there is one part of the story which I really like, which is back on Earth, and John Stewart has left a construct all the way on Earth that is protecting his mother, and that scene is really freaking cool, and there is some bad guys trying to get at the mother, and then John Stewart is out in the, you know, cosmos trying to defeat the Dark Stars, and that part is not so great, but the one back at home is awesome. So it's kind of weird. I'm split down the middle on this book, but let's go ahead and continue. Next up is Helen of Windhorn, issue number 3. This was this close to beating out Batman for the number 3 spot. This book is so good, written by Tom King, and it's an awesome freaking story. Definitely classic Tom King. Lots of reading, but the story is so good. And I also love that it's told from a perspective that is not the main character. It's a person who is taking care of the main character, and I think that is so good. After that, Man's Best, issue number 4. This story, it's fun. If I didn't pick this up from the beginning, I probably would not be sad. It's definitely kind of like filling up my pull list in a way that I don't love, because the story is not incredible, but the twist at the end of issue number 3 has me intrigued, and I want to see where the story is going to end. After that, Nightwing, issue number 115. This book has finally gotten good again. Issue number 114 was so good. So good. Again, a book that almost beat Batman for the top 3 spot. But this book is a must-read. Bruno Redondo is back on the book, and Bruno and Tom Taylor are writing together. It is so good. All right, guys, after that, The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, issue number 10. I probably should chop this book. I probably should. The story is okay, but it's one of those things, just like the Scott Snyder book. I read everything James Tynion IV puts out, and this one is just, I don't know. I like the idea of there being monsters and a monster team, and there being teenagers, because they'll deal with that teenage angst. But overall, I'm still not loving this. I'm going to give it a few more issues, then I'm going to decide if I'm going to chop or not. After that, Spawn issue number 354. This story is so good. Read all the Spawn books. They're all tying in together, telling the same story. So freaking good. After that, Titans issue number 12. I just got to do it. I just got to chop this book. It's not bad. It's just not great. It's not what it should be. Titans are such great characters, and this story is just, it's not doing what it should. After that, Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 6, great story. I liked issue number 5 a lot. I really did. It just wasn't top 3 material in my opinion, but it was definitely setting up the universe of this whole Ultimate world so much more, and it was fan-freaking-tastic. And that's the end of the not top 3, but the books you gotta see. So we can go ahead and wrap this video up. Alright guys, we are at the end of today's video, and I do have a little bit of sad news. If you guys enjoy seeing 2 to 3 videos on this channel every single week, there's only going to be one video, this one right here. The rest of this week is setting up for Nate's graduation party this weekend, cleaning the house, prepping all the food, getting all the rooms ready for all the guests we're going to have. It's just, we are going to be jam-packed for the rest of the week. I have tomorrow off. I got so many errands I need to run, and then it's cleaning and, like I said, setting up for the party. So this is the only video this week, so no final order cutoff video. I'll be back next week with at least 2 videos. I'm going to try to squeeze in a third. So yeah, stay tuned for that next week, and I apologize for only having 1 this week, but life is life, guys. It gets in the way sometimes. And if you guys have watched this long into the video, I just gotta let you guys know, you guys are legends. Thank you guys so much for being such huge supporters of the channel. And guys, look down. If you have not smashed that like button just yet, do me a favor and smash that like button. Last but not least, guys, if you guys watched that video and you enjoy comic book content and you're not subscribed, just gotta say, what are you doing? Get yourself subscribed, hit that bell for notification, and like I said, smash that like button. Alright guys, that is it for today. That is it for this week. I hope you guys have a great new comic day, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace.